Hi. Oh, I can't hear you, Georgiana.
Mute.
There you go.
I unmuted myself. I'm
Perfect.
no longer a mute.
How are you today?
I'm just fine. I'm fine. How are you? And I read in some email that you had exposure to the corona thing.
Well, not for sure, but just very likely. So I'm trying to isolate until I can go get a test.
Are
So
you still in Florida?
no, we're home, but we're
You're
just
home.
it's because of where we were and the people we were with.
You
So
think that you might have been exposed?
yeah, so our plan was to go get tested on Friday, but I know the test is not perfect, so just kind of holding tight for a week or two anyway, just looking out for symptoms. Um, yeah.
I've been tested twice, but not because I had any symptoms, because I didn't, but because I go into other people's homes. I'm still a
Oh,
caregiver for people, and I just thought that would be the right thing to do.
yes.
So the last time I was tested was last week sometime, Tuesday, or I think Tuesday morning, and I went up to Marketplace,
Yes.
and it's very unobtrusive, it's not nothing hurts. You do it yourself. You swab your nose yourself and put it in a little vial of some solution and give it back to them, and off you go. And then I heard by phone the next night that my results came on Wednesday night.
That's
So it
really
was
fast.
it was fast.
That's great.
I don't know what other, I don't know if we have, I know we have another place on Madison Avenue by Carl.
Oh,
Do we have others?
I don't know about that. I actually have used that marketplace site. It was very fast when we went. Like
Yeah,
no wait at all. And then just
yeah.
so wonderful to walk around think, for a couple days like I don't have it. Yay. Relief.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
have, my son is here visiting, and he lives in Texas, which is one of the hot spots. And he arrived on the weekend. But before he left Texas, he had himself tested, I think on Wednesday or Thursday of last week, and he's negative. And when he got himself an N95 mask,
yep.
so he put it on as soon as he entered the Texas airport, and then did not take it off until he left the O'Hare airport. And
Wow.
so I hope we're fine. I hope, what else can you do? I don't know what else you can do. I guess he could have put off his visit, but till when? We don't know when this is going to be over,
Right. Right. It could get worse. So it's
and
lucky
it
that
could
we
get
have the
worse.
testing and that the testing is available and it's quick. That makes some of these things seem more possible. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I
You see
apologize.
anybody else?
I am not in the office and I apologize. In the future I will go into the office for these meetings. I do think there's a risk of me bringing it and also it's already there. So
Oh,
yeah,
is anybody in the Brookins building right now?
they are,
Yes?
but yeah, they're all of the departments have a staff presence to some extent. um, I think they've been trying, as much as possible. People are keeping distance. Some people are able to work remotely. It's very easy for us to work remotely because of the nature of the work. It's not so easy for them. So there is one department that has a couple of confirmed positive cases right now, and it's very close to our office. So I really was hesitant for any of us to go in today. One person had to go in today, and I think he probably stayed safe.
Probably what?
Stayed safe. It's just hard to know how safe can we make ourselves, right?
Lots of hand washing, wear your mask, stay away from people.
Yes.
I don't know what else we can do.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I'll go wash my hands. I'll be right
Okay.
back.
A great start. Hi, everybody. Looks like all of the board members are here. We, Deb Roosh is not on the board right now. Her term expired on July 1st, and she has not been reappointed to the board, although perhaps she will be. But we have all the other current board members that are here, so it's still a couple minutes till 3:30. But whenever y'all are ready, Stephanie is going to help us stay true to the rules, where everything is a roll call vote now. You can do it, Stephanie.
So what's the difference? The roll call vote is they call our name and we say yay or nay.
Right.
And the other kind of vote is what? We just all, raise our hands?
Right, voice votes, where all say aye, and then all opposed say aye or nay. But because of in order to make and maybe Stephanie could actually explain this because she did the research, but she tried to explain it to me. It's just to make this format as friendly as possible to the public. We want to be really clear about when you're voting and who's voting how.
And who's saying what?
Right.
Yeah.
So isn't it weird not to meet at 8 in the morning? How is everybody feeling?
I feel better about it, actually.
Do you?
Yeah. At 8 in the morning, I'm just waking up. So
Now I'm awake.
now you're awake. Yeah.
Now I'm awake. Yeah. And the caffeine is worn off.
Oh, well, I think, for some of us, like it's a different kind of adjustment. Like if you're used to waking up in the middle of the night before the board meeting and thinking about it until the board meeting, this is a little bit tough. But I think like if we had afternoon meetings, I think we would all get used to it. So far that has not ever really worked out very well for board members. So if it's time to switch to afternoon meetings, we can make the adjustment.
That's okay, huh? I looked at the schedule for, future board meetings, and the next one in our booklet says tentative at Brookings. Is that still a possibility?
I'm thinking it's really not, but if depending on how you interpret that bit of guidance that we got today from I don't even remember what that's called. I have to look at the email. It's possible that one of us has to be there in the building, but
Yeah.
but then the rest of everyone else can attend online.
Remotely.
Yeah. So, but I think that August meeting and all of the rest are scheduled for 8 o'clock. So if board members would like to change that when we get to that part of the agenda, if you want to talk about the meeting schedule going forward, we could sure make changes.
At the last board meeting, we said goodbye and thank you to somebody. Who was that? Who were we saying goodbye and thank you to? The president?
Yes.
Yes?
Deb Roosh.
Deb Roosh. And that's because this time we're having an election of new officers. Is that correct?
It's
An election of new officers, but the one space on the board is still vacant, with Deb having been, sorry, my phone is ringing, with Deb having served her 3-year term, and no one as yet having been appointed to that position.
Okay. And I was just appointed in December or January, and I don't know how this goes. Is it difficult to find people to serve on the board?
I'm not going to address that. I'll let Lynn address that.
Okay.
historically,
I haven't had that experience, so.
yeah, it's been for the last few years, there's been a lot of interest, lots and lots of applicants, and the county executive and before her, the county board chair, have had tough decisions to make. but this year there were no applicants at all. So, and it was advertised for quite a long time. So I think it's just the new circumstances in which we're living. Maybe people have enough to do and don't want to take on a volunteer job. So, I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, but
Yeah. Interesting. Well, who are we expecting today besides the three of us? Who else is coming?
you have four, all four of you are here. So you can start.
Who's the fourth? I'm seeing only three.
There's Gail Kennedy, Ann Robin, and Sue Suter are also here. So,
Oh,
so you
Okay.
could, so Gail, do you want to start the meeting? I think it's.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. So, Stephanie, I guess we need to do a roll call
Bill Kennedy,
here.
Ann Robin. Ann, are you there?
Here, I'm unmuted. I'm going to mute unless I'm saying something because there's a dog here.
Okay. Georgiana Schuster,
here.
Sue Suter. Sue? Sue, are you there?
Here.
Okay.
All right. Our next portion of the agenda is approval of the current agenda. Are there any discussion?
I would like to add a very brief agenda item about an update on the expo.
All right. So shall we include that then in old business when we get to that point?
That's fine, wherever it works
Okay.
the best.
All right. So why don't we do that at the beginning of old business?
Okay,
So we'll do the update. And with that change, any other discussion? All right. Then we can, we do not need to vote on this. Is this correct, Stephanie?
We should probably vote on the change in the agenda, yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
I'm afraid I'm gonna need to do a roll call again.
Okay, well, do we have a second on approving the agenda?
Second,
Thank you. Then we'll go ahead with the roll call.
Bill Kennedy,
Approve.
Ann Robin,
yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Approve.
Sue Suter.
yes,
All right, the agenda and the change to it have been approved. So we will move on to number 5, citizen input and public participation. Is there anyone who would like to say anything?
I don't see any raised hands.
Good. Well, not good, but I'm glad that you can see that because I don't even know where to look for it.
Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
try to pay attention to that. And there is
Thank you.
another opportunity for people, this looks like almost all agency representatives. So,
All right.
okay.
All right, so if there is no input at this point, chairperson's comment. As secretary treasurer, acting as a chairperson for the moment, I don't have anything in particular to add at this time. Executive director's comments. Lynn, would you like to say anything?
I should say, I know that you're going to discuss the expo and under old business. So I just want to let you know that it's very clear that it would be inappropriate to have an in-person meeting during 2020. So we have let the steering committee and the consultants know, and they had a pretty robust discussion about that on Tuesday. So we might hear more from Sue Suter and others about that discussion, but it would not be safe at all. October 10th is just around the corner, and we don't have any reason to expect, especially for the people who we really want to see in person at the expo, that we can make it safe for those people. So we have prepared a public announcement that was written by our public relations consultant, Allison Boot. It's really a really lovely announcement. So I'm ready to do that whenever, maybe after today, after our meetings, so that the boards are fully informed first.
All
Anyway,
right.
otherwise I had a couple of webinars today. Well, one is a webinar and one was a committee meeting about, economic forecast. So in the good news, at the national level, our association is very involved in advocating for a new federal relief package which would help counties and states to deal with their budget shortfalls, which are significant. Counties across the country have estimated losses of $145 billion, and this bill would direct money payments from Treasury directly to counties for the purpose of shoring up their shortfalls, and the formula is a per capita basis, so they don't need evidence from counties about their losses. It's a really nice relief package. It's a very expensive one, straight out of Treasury, so we'll all be paying for it later. But counties have also new expenses and really significant shortfalls. This county has a $3.1 million shortfall already for 2020. The bad news then was that the forecast for the state of Illinois includes, they say there are green shoots, like there's little bits of good news, but it's too early to talk about those bits of good news. And they did say that we should expect in 2022 and 2023 declining property taxes. So that'll affect us. So, we might not need to start planning for shortfalls that we've never seen before. But right now, we don't know that. So I just wanted to let y'all know that was the hot news off the press, like maybe good news in the short term and maybe bad news in the long. Anyway, importantly, people in our community are staying pretty safe. So anyway, I think that's all I want to report on. Thank you.
All right. Well, then we'll move on to approval of the board meeting minutes on pages 4 through 7. So these are our minutes from our meeting last month.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Well, if there's no discussion, let's move on to a voice vote to approve the board meeting minutes from 6/17/2020.
I'll have to do a roll call again. Ann Robin,
Yes.
Jana Schuster,
Yes.
Sue Suter,
Yes.
Jill Kennedy.
Yes. All right, so that is approved. So we move on to number 9, expenditure list. Page 8. Now, I was a little confused by this. So this is page 8, which also has a 9 on top of it. Okay, so because it's number 9. But I guess what confused me is just the fact that the report total is $14,266.10, and the only thing accounted for here is the grant to PACE. So am I missing something here?
It looks like 2 pages are missing.
That is because this report is generated by the auditor's office, and it includes all the departments for the entire county are included in this report. This is just one section of that report.
So you're missing the mental health section, which would be pages 1 and 2.
All right,
And only page 3 is the DD board.
okay,
It says at the bottom, the report total is 14,266, but above that is the developmental disability fund total is 1976.
thank you. Now I understand a bit better. All right. Any other thoughts, questions, or concerns?
Was that our only expenditure in the month of May?
Yeah, Chris might be able to explain why there was only one check written.
That's because we don't do any of the monthly payments for May. We wait until June to do a combined May-June payment for all of the grants. However, this is the fee-for-service grant for PACE, and this was actually their April payment that got paid in May.
This was their
Thank you.
April payment?
Yes, they have until the 15th of the following month to upload their service data, and then we use that to reconcile the payment. So this is actually the payment that they would have received in April, however, their fee for service.
And so in the month of June, this expenditure list here is for the month of June? And this was the only payment made in the month of June? Well, actually, it was made in the month of May. So it's the only payment made in the month of May? Am I reading that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So it's an expenditure in the month of May, and that's the only expenditure we had, the
Correct.
DD board in the month of May. Okay.
Yes.
Alrighty, thank you for clarifying that for us. Any other comments? Then we can move on to number 10 in our agenda, new business. The first portion of new business is the election of officers with,
Gal, maybe I missed this, but did I have a vote on the expenditures?
oh, I did, I missed asking for that, I'm sorry,
Okay.
my mistake.
I thought maybe I just didn't get it or something. Okay.
No, I just, I didn't see my underlined asterisk, we need to do this. I blew right by it. All right, so back to approval. So do we have a second?
Second.
Second,
Great. Any further discussion? Then let's go ahead with a roll call vote again, please.
Gal Kennedy,
Approved.
Ann Robin,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes?
Sue Suter.
yes.
All right, the expenditure list is approved. Then the next bit of new business is number 10, election of officers. For those of you with the board pack, there are bylaws. Should you need to look at them or need to review them during this discussion. So we have 2 positions that are up for election. One is the board president. The second is the board secretary. If there are no objections, I think we will go ahead and seek nominations for the board president first.
I nominate Ann Robin for, and I think we can do a unanimous vote. Maybe not, maybe we have to do roll call. Sorry, Stephanie.
And I would second that nomination. Any discussion?
Well, I said I would be willing to do it unless you wanted to do it, Gail, in which case I would definitely defer to you.
I guess there's a lot of deferral going on.
And I
would be
mean
wi-
that in the most positive way.
Although I would be willing to do it if no one else chose, I would feel more comfortable if someone else did. So if you, Anne, are willing to serve, I would like to support that as the nomination.
Okay, I'm willing to do it.
Thank you, Anne.
And now we need to vote on that.
Yes. Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Sue Suter,
Yes.
Gail Kennedy,
Yes.
Ann Robin.
Yes.
All right. Next is voting for the secretary. And Anne, now that you're the president, you can take over.
Well, all right. Do we have nominations for the secretary? Gail, are you currently the secretary?
I am, and if people are happy with that, I am willing to serve again as secretary.
I would consider that good news.
And I would,
Second.
you're
Oh,
voting-
sorry, Georgiana.
I'm just saying if that was a motion for you to be voted on as secretary, I will second that motion. Was that a motion? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so I will second that motion.
All right,
I think
any
it's good to have
further
confidence.
discussion? Okay, are we ready to vote?
I think so.
All right,
Yes.
Stephanie?
Sue Suter,
Yes.
Gail Kennedy,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes?
Georgiana Schuster.
Yes.
I would like Lynn to say just a couple of words about the roles of the president and the secretary and how they relate to her and the rest of the staff, because she sent me a little email about it, but I think it would be useful to hear a little bit. Would this be a good time to do that, Lynn?
Sure. That's one of the reasons that we put the bylaws in here, just to show like there's, kind of straightforwardly how, the president really does have some control over the direction. So if you are able to work with me on agenda, and I promise to try not to bother you all the time, that does require some restraint on my part, but I'm learning. So, so there is also the president and the secretary also are involved in signing contracts, and when we need to talk about what kind of changes there might be to the budget, those are conversations that I usually have with both presidents and the vice president and secretary from the other board, vice president of the other board and secretary of this board, just so that I can get a sense from you all of accurate representation of the boards. So the other thing, which is like a fun surprise that I'm going to spring on you pretty soon, is that every couple of years, the board officers have the responsibility of reviewing my contract and deciding whether or not, first during the summer, to signal whether you have a desire to renew a contract with me, which starts January 1st, and then some time to develop the terms of that. And so that's another special thing that the president and secretary do. And they do that with the mental health board officers as well. So do you want more specifics? I think I sort of seek guidance from the board officers pretty often. I do try to talk to all the board members, but especially when we're putting together board packets, I like to check in and make sure I'm, not going to be surprising you with anything.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions that the other board members have?
No. Congratulations.
Woo.
Yay.
Oh, I guess I should say that we should move on. I'm sitting here waiting for somebody else to do that. We have another item under new business, which is the Illinois Department of Human Services Division of Developmental Disabilities Community Day Services. This is an information. Does somebody want to, Kim or Lynn, do you want to say something about this?
Kim is looking at me like maybe she doesn't want to say anything about it, but Kim has been paying very close attention to the rapidly changing guidance from the state of Illinois, so I'd love it if she did. We also just got a note just a few minutes ago that there's an extension on the state owes federal CMS a plan for how they're going to do, how they're going to come into compliance with the regulations that went into place a few years ago. But now the deadline for that has been pushed forward. So there, you know, Illinois is one of the last states to get an approved transition plan. It concerns roughly the same services that the state has been discussing pretty often, which are represented in, you know, by just a few select slides in the board packet. Some of you have seen these full presentations by the state. This has to do with how the state is going to provide day services. And day services are really important. I don't know, Kim, are you ready to speak to it? Do you want to? No, she doesn't want to. Okay.
She's still muted.
Well, she pointed this out to me, and that's when we started tuning in, when I started tuning in with her to some of the news. I think when the state, you know, went into the shelter in place in mid-March, they really just kind of froze everything and just converted their fee-for-service contracts to grant payments with an emphasis on preserving the workforce capacity, which has been an issue in Illinois for years and years and years. So it was just, don't go away, we'll figure out how to serve people. And, you know, maybe the hope back then was that the pandemic would be all gone by now, but now we're in a new contract year for the state as well as for the DD board. And in the new contract year, the state is becoming a little bit more aggressive about what they want to see. You know, this is kind of survival mode for day services. Like traditionally in Illinois, day services are provided in a great big workshop with lots and lots and lots of people. Not a very safe setting now. The pressure from the feds was to move away from that model. The state has not invested enough money into really transforming away from workshops. You know, we're really lagging behind in that regard. And now workshops are not safe. So this is about what, you know, the state's concerned are that with more flexibility for settings and with transportation, I think that's sort of across the board become a huge concern. How do we do transportation safely, with how to make sure that all of the facilities, no matter how big, have enough protective equipment and hygiene protocols. Some of the people they're serving may reject some of these protocols, may not feel comfortable wearing a mask. That's not, I don't know that for sure, but that's one of the things the state has been talking about. And there is actually, you know, a lawsuit which challenges them to prove that. So I don't want to throw that out there as fact, but if people who are served in these settings struggle with some new protocols, there could be, it could be difficult for the state to implement brand new, you know, system redesign under these conditions. But they really are emphasizing small numbers of people being together. So this is a work in progress. And we liked some of what the state was saying. The risk protocol that's also included here was changed a couple of times while we were putting the board packet together. So this was the most recent version.
Okay.
Sure. Yep. So, and an individual risk protocol might be really helpful to really understand what people need and are ready to do in order to receive services. Okay, is that enough?
Thank you. Any comments from anybody else about this?
Are the people who provide community day services, this questionnaire, I guess, is asking people what they need and what they want and what they're comfortable with, but do we have other alternatives to what we used to have, you know, the big, large settings with lots of people in them? Are there any, what are the other alternatives? Is it that or nothing? What are the people who were running these community day centers, what are they doing with their time in the last 4 months? Is there something else going on that's an alternative?
Well, that's actually a good question. We do have a large day program at DSC, and there are some representatives from that program here. If Anne wants to open the floor to agency input on that question, maybe we could tell.
Well, is there anybody who's on the meeting that would like to make a brief comment about what they've been doing and what their thoughts are? I'd be open to hear that. I think other people would too. Not to put you on the spot. Something says not letting me speak.
I think Patty's trying to speak. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I think Patty's trying to speak, but her microphone's not working. I think for related to what people have been doing, I mean, I think there's a lot in the last meeting. There was an update on what people have been doing during this time. A lot of it's planning, checking in, talking to people, updating things. But right now, it's a lot of virtual programming going on and keeping up to date with things. But in relation to what the future holds, I think that's what we're all evaluating right now and seeing what that can look like. But I mean, I think a lot, you know, some settings we do have a lot smaller groups, and we've had smaller groups for a long time. There's probably 2 locations that have larger amounts, but a lot of them do have smaller rooms with smaller settings with smaller groups. So we're trying to evaluate just how many we think are interested in coming back, and then how many can safely come back. So I think there's a lot of different questions right now on what that looks like. The survey that she sent out, the risk assessment, I think is pretty generic. So I think we'll probably add some more of our own questions to that when we evaluate people. So we sent a survey ourselves to people we support just to see, like, you know, where they're at, what they're thinking, what the capabilities of the individual supported is. And then we took that information, and now we're going to move with the state's information with that. But I mean, it's a long process. This is going to take a long time, and just brainstorming on, you know, the policies that have to be in place are pretty cumbersome. And so what can we do safely, and what's a healthy outcome for people to come? Can we provide that service safely to individuals? I mean, I think for some we can and some we can't. And so we're trying to look at that, and transportation is definitely a barrier, trying to figure out what that looks like. You know, some people do MTD independently, but that's a choice too. And what does that look like? I think there are so many questions, and we're still evaluating what that looks like.
Thank you. And any other comments at this time?
It's Laura from DSC also. I just wanted to comment. So pre-COVID and post-COVID are quite different. Pre-COVID, all of our day programs had a really strong emphasis on community involvement in small groups and sometimes one-on-one situations. So, you know, we had groups volunteering, we had groups going out and, you know, working or volunteering, recreating, whatever. And post-COVID, what we have been doing is using some of the staff members to help support in our group homes, and then also to provide contact, regular contact with people who are no longer able to come here, and then also providing lots of virtual opportunities for people. Basically, just with, as this has evolved and gone on longer than any of us, I think, anticipated, we've had to kind of reinvent ourselves every couple of weeks, and then figure out new documentation systems and all the things that we need to do to keep us connected and continuing to document the services we're providing. During this COVID situation and moving forward for thinking about reopening, what we do in the community is going to be dramatically different than what we have done. And so that's something that we'll be taking into consideration. And then how we provide services in center will be also dramatically different. And so it's huge. I mean, we will not have large groups. Most of our spaces have been carved up into small groups, but there was a lot of movement throughout the day of people going from one, computer lab to the art room to whatever. And during the COVID situation, our day programs will be much more static, and people will be with the same people during the day. Community involvement will be very limited. Anyway, just wanted to give you guys an idea of kind of what it was, which was heading in the right direction of a lot of community involvement and a lot of people pursuing the things they want to do out in the community and making connections with people out there. And because of the safety considerations, that will not be happening, but we will be doing as much as we can to try to keep people safe in smaller groupings, and just abiding by some of the protocols that we all have to live with. But anyway, just wanted to give you that kind of perspective.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to Laura, I mean, that the guidance is very strict. It's 10 max, and it's the same group has to be with the same staff constantly. So that's the static, there will not be much exchange, and that's to limit exposure to everyone, which makes sense. But
I have another question. Since we're having to go to so much virtual everything, virtual programming, virtual meetings, are we making sure that our citizens, our people that we're serving, have connectivity? Do they have computers and connectivity? Is that part of what you're looking into, that everybody is connected by computer connections?
Hi, this is Annette from DSC. Can you all hear me?
I can hear.
Oh, hooray. I think a couple of things for my part of the Community First program. We have been able to move more toward virtual groups, I think much faster than Laura's people. And right now we have 31 people doing groups virtually, but that's one of the challenges, is making sure that everybody who needs the computer or Wi-Fi or whatever, that they get that. And we have been able to get grants and have been able to provide that for people. And also pre-COVID, the majority of our Community First program at Clark Road was community-based before all of this hit. So we didn't have a lot of people here at Clark Road in one building. 35 groups happened every week, about 7 each day. And so in groups of 4 or 5, so a lot of our people in our part of the program were already outside of DSC buildings.
Okay, thanks for that. Anyone else want to make comments about what they've been working on and what direction they're going?
I don't know, for technology, if you just want, I don't know if Lynn wants to add, but there is a new grant. The state has a new grant available for people in RPC. It would go through RPC, the ISC right now, but there will be funding, or there's a pot of money for potential funding for iPads to increase technology use for individuals at home. And that is huge. We do have a list of people who do need either a hotspot, Wi-Fi in their home, or some kind of iPad. So that, we will be applying for that. I don't know how many we will get, but there is a need.
Okay, thanks. Any other comments on this topic? I'm sure we could continue this discussion for a long time, but thank you very much for your participation. Shall we move on to item C, board direction? I didn't prepare anything. Anybody prepare anything?
No?
Okay.
I'm sorry. I did not prepare anything. But I guess one thing that I would like to just mention at this point, and the discussion before this just started this. I think this having COVID and having this restriction of people gathering together and people being out in the community, both is very difficult. It's very challenging for all of us. But it also gives us a time to step back and look at how we can be providing services. And, not only in an urgent situation like this, but maybe in bringing that forward into the future in how services will be provided even when we're not in the middle of a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just putting that out as trying to be hopeful about the fact that this time period that we have is giving us a chance to really make a difference and think about the way we, not only as a board, but as community organizations who are served by this board, how we want services to look in our community going forward. That's it.
Okay. Thanks for being hopeful. Item D is successes and other agency information. Anybody have any specific successes? We did hear a little bit about agency information under the last topic, what people are doing.
Hi, this is Annette again from DSC. Leslie Olson and Ashley Withers, who are the two staff from DSC and Community Choices who do the LEAP training. They were able to record a virtual LEAP training, and the first business, or the first entity basically, did complete that virtual training. So we're also looking at LEAP and, how do we look at things differently moving forward?
Okay.
Can you
I have
repeat? Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to repeat on what sort of training was that?
The LEAP training, it's for businesses in Champaign County who are interested in learning about the benefits of hiring people with disabilities.
And so that training is done with the business people who are interested in doing it.
Correct.
It's
we have
LEAD, L-E-A-D?
LEAP, Leaders in Employing All People.
Okay.
And there are actually two components to it. The first one we started with was really geared toward the business owner or HR, the people who do the hiring. And then we recently added the frontline staff training, which is geared more toward people who would be peers or coworkers and could be natural supports. And so I believe we only have the initial LEAP training virtually at this point.
So Georgiana, just in case, and you might know this, I don't know, this is supported by your contract with DSC for Employment First. So you reviewed it in the spring under Employment First, and it's a collaboration between DSC and Community Choices. It goes back a few years. Becca Obachowski has raised her hand.
Hi, yeah, so this is Becca from Community Choices. I just wanted to share some plans that we've made with our Advocacy Initiatives Board. So we've done a number of different projects with this group. It involves, I think, 6 self-advocates. We created a healthcare guide, and in the last few weeks and months, we've done a couple things. One, we've developed some bylaws for that group, so now they are sort of running themselves, with us as the facilitators, but they created a list of kind of rules for how that group works. It very much looks like the bylaws that any sort of board might have. And then we also picked a direction for some of our new projects, and so sort of in light of the protest against police brutality and looking for equality for people of color in this country, they chose to look at some of these issues, to sort of look at the history of the intersection of civil rights, human rights, and disability rights, and also sort of going into sort of how a lot of marginalized groups have sort of fought for more equality in our country. So LGBTQ people, and so we're going to spend some time with that group learning about those things, and then we're going to create a training that we're going to start by offering to other members with disabilities at Community Choices, and then hopefully be able to kind of go from there once we've kind of practiced and done it a little bit. So so we're really excited about that. We're still in the early stages, but that is one of kind of a nice and exciting thing that we've been working on sort of from our computers at home.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other successes or concerns? Okay, maybe we should move on to old business, and the first item is to talk about the expo. Sue, did you have something you wanted to present?
I just have, Ann, I have an update. There was a steering committee meeting yesterday, and as Lynn said, this is certainly under the understanding no in-person expo on October 10th. One of the options that people are looking at is having more of a virtual expo on October 10th. And some people actually, including myself, I have concerns over that. It's a lot of moving parts. We would have the exhibitors, which there are about 100, would it all be on Zoom or chat rooms or I'm not confident at this point that we could make sure about the accessibility, not only in terms of cross disability, but even in terms of language. I think it's a lot to plan between now and October 10th. Also, concern was expressed from Jane and from myself. Jane on the mental health board. We're concerned about the agencies that we fund right now. They're working really hard to serve individuals that they're serving, and we don't want to take time away from them doing that. In terms of having to be involved, we don't know exactly. The other thing is we don't know exactly how this will all look. Barb Bresner and Jim Mayer have done an excellent job on researching different options, but we just want to make sure that we're not overburdening our agency staff with extra work at this point. The other thing is, at this point also, there really isn't any budget that's been presented to us. We need, for instance, IT individuals. There is a platform that Barb and Jim have looked at called Expo CAD, and they would be responsible for putting this whole thing together, coordinating it, and the platform. That would be a flat $5,000. However, we have no idea what the additional accessibility, staff, IT time would cost. There is a survey done that's going to be done of the steering committee. It's a 30-member steering committee, so it's very hard to get any kind of consensus for such a complex issue. So they are going to send out a survey, community agencies, people on the steering committee, to get a little better idea of what people have in mind. One of my points is, I don't think it has to be all or nothing. I personally don't think we're ready for a full 100 exhibit virtual expo on October 10th, but it doesn't mean that we couldn't do some videos on our website, some webinars, some things, certainly under the auspices of the expo, but do it gradually with our partners and our agencies. And we'd also learn from that, and 6 months from now, maybe come back and say, you know, think we're ready to do a virtual expo next fall, or, you know, we're ready to do something else. So that's where we are with the expo. And as Lynn said, she's sending out a message saying it won't be in person, because we have to let the public know that. And we'll go from there.
Okay.
At
Any
some
other-
point, excuse me, at some point, Ann, you know, we may have to be more concrete as a board, since we do fund this, but that's where we are right now.
Okay. Well, I very much appreciate that as a board member and your new president. Thank you for that good work. I actually like the comment that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And I was involved in another board meeting a couple of days ago, a different organization that had to cancel our annual meeting, which is in November, which was a big deal because that's the biggest fundraiser for that organization too. And this one is not a fundraiser for the DD board, but it shouldn't also be a fund sink. But what that board had decided is that we were going to invite 3 presenters in that case to do 5-minute YouTube videos that we were going to put out. So maybe people can get really creative and do little videos involving some of their individual clients, some of their programs, artwork, all kinds of things that people could do and just have fun with it. And put that up, like you said, for people to watch. Anyway, that sounds good. Other comments? Yes.
I have a comment. I think that this is another item where we're rethinking how we're doing things is not a bad thing. That we're going to start to rethink everything that we do, and I think rethinking how we do the expo is not a bad thing. I think maybe some good can come up with this, that will, do it in a new way, and that's good. That's good.
Well, the good thing about videos on a website is that people can share them, especially if they're in a format that can be shared. And they can also look at them more than once, or they can
their own time.
look at them at their own time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the most exciting thing about this idea of putting things not on the website, is that you don't have to wait till the next expo to be able to access them.
Right.
That information will all be in one place and available to the community. So there's a lot of good possibilities there.
Okay, great. Lynn, did you have your hand up?
Is it okay if I make a comment?
Of course.
This is a board discussion, but I just wanted to share with you that we have some people there's a lady who runs our website, and she's got lots of untapped talents. We could build more onto the website in the direction that you've been talking about. And right now we have a student project working on videos to test an idea that another student group offered to us. And I have some hope that this will be really helpful to people who either don't like to read, don't read, or really don't like the way that our information has been presented and just would value videos. So I think that you're onto something, that there's a lot of potential in this area, and we can, sort of start leaning into these pieces that are already happening and maybe make more of them. There's also a lady who does our social media sites and has really turned those into incredibly valuable sources of information with interesting posts every day. That's the lady who wrote this announcement, which we'll send out tomorrow. So I think that's another person who can help us sort of advance the mission of the expo in different ways, at least during this time and maybe forever.
Excellent.
Okay.
How's that sound, Sue?
Oh, that sounds great. And I will pass this along. The one I think underlying part is our board, as one of the funders, the mental health board funds it as well. We have to make sure that we're accessible to individuals with cross disabilities. And we can't fund anything that we're not sure of that's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay, as your convener, I'm also looking at the clock, and we're approaching an hour. Do you think we can get through the rest of the business in the next 30 minutes, probably, with this very efficient group? Try to move things along. Thank you, Sue. Can we talk about item A, the mini grant update? Who's going to present that? It's a decision memorandum.
Kim, you ready? I don't feel I can do this one justice.
Yeah, so I just provided a brief update on what has happened with mini grant purchases since the last month. And then in there is a decision memorandum for applicants 33 and 34. They were originally approved for $2,500 a piece. They are brothers for a bathroom remodel. In the decision memorandum, you will see a note from their mother and an additional note from a family advocate, just detailing the struggles the mom has had with the contractor, especially during the current environment they're in. And she has asked if instead of the bathroom remodel, she could use the funds to purchase some new beds for her sons. She's detailed kind of why she needs the new beds for them and the safety concerns she has with them sleeping in the king bed together right now.
Okay. Any comments from the group about this? Any discussion?
I move that we accept the recommendation.
I second that motion.
Okay, well, I do have a question. There's a comment here that this is budget neutral, which would be $2,500 for each bed. Is that what we're looking at? Those sound like pretty expensive beds.
Well, she asked for new mattresses, new box springs, headboards, fabric cushioned headboards, bed frames, and then sheets for those beds.
It adds up.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it would be, I guess budget neutral, as in it wouldn't be any more than what has already been approved.
Yeah. Okay. So no more than what was approved previously. Okay. And then one other comment that I just want to make is, having been on the committee where we discussed whether to approve this or not, there were some significant concerns about not getting involved in the home renovation projects for the very reason that this is coming forward with, that it's a lot more complicated than you think. So I think this is a good alternative, and we should encourage this kind of thing in the future.
And I just very quickly, I was on that committee too, and you're right. at the time when we were making recommendations, it seemed simple and no problem, and it has been a lot more complicated. And I just want to thank Chris, because I can't imagine what you've had to go through, Chris, to meet all these requests and get them taken care of. And Kim.
Second that.
Can I
Okay.
add that it is so true. In January and February, while we were still all together, I think this was, on Kim's plate every single day.
Yeah.
When we scattered to the winds, it's been really hard. But okay, thank you. Sorry.
Can I hear a motion to approve the request?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
for applicants, yeah. Okay, Stephanie, is that good enough? Can we vote?
Gail Kennedy,
Approve.
Ann Robin,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Sue Suter.
Approve.
Okay, so we've approved that change. And the next one is the draft budget, pages 21 through 37, which looks kind of big. And I must admit, I just kind of read through it because I'm not a very good budget person. So if there's something wrong with it, I haven't found it. Does somebody want to make a few comments about this? This is for information only. We don't have to do an action.
So even though we know that things will change, it would be really valuable to me if you could approve it. And you may choose not to, but I was.
Well, is there an action requested on it?
Yeah.
Page 37.
So it's on page 22, there are two suggested motions.
Oh, okay. All right, on
and
page
it's okay.
22.
If you all don't like these budgets or you want to wait, it's okay not to, but it's meaningful to me because of the steps that actually, like, in a couple days, Chris and I will be moving on to phase 2 of this, is where we talk to the county and get more information. We already have some more information, and then Chris helpfully ran a couple reports for me today that will help us to make the necessary adjustments. But if you are inclined to approve the CCDDB budget and the SILA budget, which are part of this today, then we'll bring you back revised budgets at another time. But I can go to the county with some confidence that you're approved of these.
Okay.
But as I said, if you don't like them, that's okay too.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that it was an action item. So I'm hearing from our executive director that it would be helpful to the agency for the board to approve these budgets with the understanding that they are documents in process, that changes will occur, and that the future is uncertain, but that this gives us something to work with right now. Is that fair?
That's great.
Okay. Motion to approve the attached CCDDB budget with anticipated revenues and expenditures of $4,341,331.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I was gonna just point out something. I am a person who looks at budgets sometimes, and one of the important things that you look at when you're looking at a not-for-profit budget or a charity's budget is how much of the revenue gets spent on actual services rather than overhead. And our DDB budget here shows that 91% of our revenue is getting spent on programs and services, and only 9% is on overhead, and that's good.
That's incredible.
Just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, thank you very much for that comment.
Yeah.
And that will be in the public record. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Stephanie, you want to do a roll call?
Sue Suter,
Yes.
Gil Kennedy,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Okay, the next is the motion to approve the attached 2021 SILA fund budget with anticipated revenues and expenditures of $72,000. Payment of this fund is consistent with terms of intergovernmental agreement between the CCDDB and the CCMHB, and full approval is contingent on CCMHB action.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, Stephanie, would you do a roll call?
Gil Kennedy,
Yes.
Ann Robin,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Sue Suter.
Yes.
Okay, it's been approved. Thank you, board, and Lynn and Chris, you can carry on. Okay, the next is the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign Evaluation Capacity Proposal. And this does require an action on pages 38 to 43. Any comments about this before we move forward?
I have a question and a comment. Most fundamentally, it looks like we're voting on next year's contract before learning last year's results. Is that true or not? Because it says the presentation to the Developmental Disabilities Board is scheduled for September 23rd. And so I don't know how effective this build evaluation capacity program has been.
Well, I can actually speak to that because I was on the mental health board when we first had the contract with this group. And I would say that they have really given good value for the dollar with helping all of the agencies with their evaluations. And this is just continuing. The DD board didn't participate in it to start out with. It was a mental health board. But it's been a very valuable program, helping agencies figure out how to evaluate themselves so that they can then present themselves better for funding and for regulations. And most social service agencies are really oriented toward providing services and often not oriented toward evaluating themselves, and especially evaluating themselves using the tools and the language that regulatory agencies and funders look for. So this is trying to match them up. This is my understanding, trying to match them up so that they can show what they're doing in an effective way so that funders and regulators can look at it and say, yes, this is what we want to fund, and you're satisfying these requirements. I think this is the environment that we're living in. You just have to, you can't just provide services. You have to document and justify your services. Maybe somebody that has used them, maybe somebody from DSC or somebody that's used those services, community services, could say something about what their experience was working with this team. Anybody interested?
This is Mark Driscoll. I'm blacked out, but I think Mark Aber is one of the research, the doctors working on the program, and I think he might be able to share some observations as far as what their experience was. And it has been well received. Dr. Robin, I appreciate your remarks. I think they're quite accurate in terms of what agencies experience, but there's also the benefit to the agencies internally of being able to assess how their program is performing and what changes they're making and whether those changes are having a positive impact, kind of completing the feedback loop. Dr. Aber, do you have anything you want to share?
Yeah, I could just say that this was our first year working with DD programs. We worked with both Community Choices Community Living Program and DSC's Community Living Program. And from our perspective, that went quite well. And we are looking forward to continuing that work. You know, just to give you a brief overview of how we operate, we typically start by developing a theory of change logic model that allows the program to describe what their goals are and the activities that they are pursuing to reach those goals. And we begin to move towards concretizing measurement strategies for the processes and outcomes that the programs are interested in measuring. And then we work to identify appropriate empirically supported measures that have been used in the field and have good psychometric properties. And then we try to help the programs to the extent they want to develop the processes and structures to both collect the data and then to analyze and report on the data. And we've been doing this work for 5 years now with the Mental Health Board, just 1 year with DD, and I think we're making progress in terms of figuring out what kinds of activities are most helpful to programs in terms of figuring out how to tell their own story with data to support, just as Anne was suggesting, to let others know, make it clear how their programs are having the impacts that they're wanting to have. These aren't, we're never going to get the programs to the point where they're doing, high science, but it's, as Mark Driscoll just mentioned, one of the goals besides appealing to funders and regulators is to help the programs learn about their own activities and to interrogate their own activities for quality improvement purposes. And my experience with the programs is that they've found it very helpful. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you for that. I think that's helpful.
You do have a couple of people from those agencies that Becca appears willing to speak to it, and Sarah Perry is also available.
Sure, I can jump in if you want. So we have actually been able to work with the team from the U of I twice. We had a program that was originally funded through the Mental Health Board, like 4 years ago. And so we've kind of been able to use their services in a couple different ways. This past year, we've been looking at our community transitional support program. And it's been, so we've been working with Chelsea, and it's been a really wonderful process. So we sort of started at the very beginning. This was a program that we had, it wasn't exactly a logic model that we had for it, but it did have a sort of like logical process to it. And we had been wanting to kind of refine that because we didn't feel that it was maybe reflecting all of the things that we were doing. And so we started there. And it's been great to sort of figure out a way to incorporate both the, sort of like the data collection that's needed, and then like what are the good indicators for that. And I think that one of the things when you are I mean, one of the things that seems really specific about people with disabilities is that a lot of the programs that we're offering and providing for folks are so all encompassing, right? Like we're getting at so many different areas of a person's life. We're trying to affect, their ability to, be connected to their community and have friends and build their own families, as well as like very distinct skill sets. Like, okay, like, can you make spaghetti? And so finding some ways to sort of measure all of that within one program is really, really challenging. And I think that, like CQL is one of the accreditors, and they've developed some tools that are trying to look at all of those things. But this has been a really great way to sort of develop some of those tools that are specifically tailored to our organization. And that, so I just can't say enough great things about it. We're still sort of finishing up some of the updates and changes to our program, or community living program, with our work with them this year. But I think that many other programs could benefit.
Thank you. Any other comments?
So I can speak on behalf of DSC. We've been working with Markira, and we started out really strong, and unfortunately it was really challenging with COVID to keep the momentum, because obviously another Zoom meeting on the schedule is tough. And in my opinion, the logic model has done really nice things as far as kind of broadening our perspective of what the program all encompasses. It is a vast program, just kind of like what Becca spoke to about her program. There are lots of entities, so to define what is most important and prioritize the data collected that's most relevant for funders to recognize is challenging. So when we developed our logic model and met in person, it was much easier to communicate and draw some conclusions. Myself and the community living manager, who was very new to the program, would meet regularly with Markira, and it was really awesome, especially for Van, to get a really overall encompass of what the program is about and how we want to better define it. And then also with that, we started with our TheraApp software program in the midst of it, which is also a new way to collect data and to fine tune how we want to do that. So we had lots of different components going on with our time with Markira. She was great in navigating it with us. Of course, when COVID came about, it took precedence, and we had to prioritize that. And she was very understanding. We kept meeting with her and doing the best we could. She's out in Pennsylvania, so we're Zooming with her from Pennsylvania. But we have come a long way. We've developed some really nice tools as far as our apartment inspections and really defining our independent living skills and how to take care of independent or take care of the community and socializing, especially now with COVID, drawing kind of some conclusions on how we can better that moving forward. So with that being said, we're going to wrap things up, I think, at the end of July, and then we'll be having a presentation. I'm not sure if you guys will be the entity to share that with, but she says that we'll be having several presentations, so hope so. Thank you.
Okay. So basically, yeah, Sue?
I was just going to make a motion to approve the participation that's in our book for the capacity building evaluation year 6 proposal at a cost of $33,803. It's on page 39.
Second.
Any further discussion? And this is in cooperation with the Mental Health Board, so this is contingent on the Mental Health Board coming up with their part of it, which is $80,000.
The total is $80,198. So the mental health board portion is $46,395.
Right.
Oh, okay, it was a little bit hard for me to
Yeah,
read that.
it's
Okay,
sometimes I don't really write the motions perfectly. I apologize.
okay, so the mental health board plus the DD board comes up to $80,000. Okay, that's clarified. I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
So we're ready for a vote?
Are we ready, Stephanie?
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Sue Suter,
Yes.
Gail Kennedy,
Yes.
Ann Robin.
Yes. All right, thank you. And I think that was a valuable discussion.
Yes.
Okay, now we have the 211 information and referral, pages 44 and 45. And this is something that has been discussed previously. Do we want a little review as to what the 211 is doing and what we're actually getting with this expenditure?
The 211 is a information and referral call service that's in places across the country. I think that the idea was to make it national, everywhere. So in some communities, it works really well. It's a United Way design, and we've been paying, half of it on behalf of Champaign County for quite a few years. Mark is also on the call and may want to jump in with the late breaking news. It appears that our cost for this coming year will be a little bit less than this. So you could make the motion as it's presented, and then we just don't spend as much on it as is indicated here, or we could adjust it. But I have to check on the calculator what the exact adjustment would be. The 211 is designed as a call service, so you have to call 211 and talk to a trained information and referral specialist to get resource information. Their calls have gone up something like 800%.
Wow.
COVID. So they even are appreciating the value of adding on to this system with some, maybe not like the high level trained professionals, but possibly a website that's a little bit easier for people to navigate on their own, or for case managers, which you all are paying for lots of really skillful case management in this community, and case managers can make a lot of things happen if they can make sense of a website. So there is a project that no one's paying for any part of it yet. It's a University of Illinois community data clinic project right now to develop a more user-friendly online resource version of 211 in order to meet this increasing need. And just in the last few months, 211 and United Way have come to really value this idea, as it might take some of the heat off of like the lots of pressure with this 800% increase in calls.
800%.
Yeah.
And the concept was great before, but in a time when people need information really quickly, we don't have a lot of hope of training up and funding up that many of the the AIRS certified call specialists. Anyway, sorry, sorry, I'm not good at being brief. I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, any other questions?
Something. I called 211 today because I was really unfamiliar with what it was, and found out that it's a directory of nonprofits. And I just wanted to add that to our discussion. If you are looking for some resources for mental health care, for disability care, this is a directory of nonprofits, I was told. Is that your understanding of it?
I had a meeting with the people from the Community Data Clinic yesterday, and they say there are 423 nonprofits providing services in Champaign County and enrolled in 211. Okay. 423.
Who would guess?
I know.
Right? Who would
know? Yeah. Wow.
This is Mark. Lynn alluded to, some new information. We have been talking to Sue Gray about updating the memorandum of understanding. So on your, the decision memo, there's actually two different motions, but United Way has not been able to update that. There's one section that relates to the contract maximum of $40,000. Their current contract for the coming year will actually exceed that. So what we have proposed in the decision memo is to split the cost and then come back at some point with an updated MOU. Sue Gray has just offered that if the boards were not comfortable with going above the $40,000 amount, that they would be willing to accept from the board's $20,000 as the board's share of the full contract amount. So I just wanted to share that. The board can either move at the current level that's proposed in the decision memo, or adjust that amount down to $20,000. Although, so instead of being the 21,330, it would be 20,000.
And Mark, that's also shared with the Champaign County Mental Health Board?
Right.
Yes.
So your total would be 8,430 instead of 8,991.
And then the difference would be paid by the Mental Health Board for a total of $20,000.
Right.
Okay, so is our approval also contingent on the Mental Health Board approving? Okay.
Yeah.
How about the first motion to authorize the executive director to enter into an updated memorandum, something of understanding with United Way of Champaign County for 211?
I move that we, I move that we approve this motion.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we've had discussion. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Stephanie?
Ann Robin,
Yes.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Sue Suter,
Yes.
Del Kennedy.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries. So the second one is a money motion. So we're looking at, I think I'm going to propose that we read it as the 21,330 and not modify it, and we'll just see what happens. And this is to be shared with Champaign County Mental Health Board, who will be paying their part. And it doesn't say here exactly how much. Do we need to say exactly how much we're voting on, Lynn?
Well, it's described in the memorandum. So,
okay.
So the maximum that we were proposing is that you'd pay 8,991.
Okay, I see. It's in the memorandum, not in the motion. Got it.
And that's what I mean. Like, maybe I should do the motions differently in the future. We can talk about that. So
yeah,
thank you.
We can work on that. It's all in there. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
Ann, I just want to say, I agree with you. That's a very little difference, and given that it's the usage has gone up 800%, I'm happy to give the top number.
Okay. Any other discussion? Stephanie, would you please?
Del Kennedy,
Agree.
Georgiana Schuster,
Yes.
Sue Suter,
Yes.
Del Kennedy, I'm sorry, Ann Robin.
Yes. The motion carries. Thank you. All right. Well, I think that is it for the things that we have to really decide. The next item is the schedule and timeline, which is information, and then the acronyms and glossary, for which I am very grateful that we have that. Thank you very much, Mark, for putting that together. I think I asked for that years ago when I first joined the Mental Health Board, and I couldn't understand half of what was in the packet because I didn't know what all the acronyms are. And then we've got something of CCMHB, which is the Mental Health Board input. Do we have anything for that?
Just, I can report on that. I do want to back up just one to possibly the most exciting agenda item of all, which is the next meeting. You could cancel the August 19th meeting because you've done everything. If there are other things that come up, we could keep it, or we could hold a special meeting, but you could do that. And if you want us to look for a different time than 8 a.m., we can do that, but we've reserved the Last Shields room and the John Dimmitt room for 8 a.m. on all these days, just in case. So
okay. Should we have discussion about the August meeting? Lynn, do we need a meeting? This was an action-packed meeting. This was very substantive. That we got a lot done.
You could
fairly short amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, you got through all the things that we needed you to, but you can call a special meeting if there is any business that we didn't accomplish today that we need to accomplish before September. So.
I suggest that we cancel it, and if we don't have anything important on, let's give staff a break.
Well, the other thing we can do is what we do in between, which is get emails from Lynn and from other people with information, and then we can ask questions and get information that way. That works for me.
Okay.
Probably the most important thing that's going to happen between now and then is going to be the expo, what they're deciding to do with that. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, there are a lot of interesting sort of experimental things going on that I hope we'll have good news to report to you at the end of the summer. The Mental Health Board is meeting at 5:45, and their agenda is roughly similar to this. It's really just kind of preparing for this budget process. We want to make sure that you all know about and approve all these little things that we don't talk about very often, or make changes to them if we need to. So that's the Mental Health Board update.
Okay, great. Thank you. Do we want to have a discussion about the time of the meeting? I will say 3:30 does not work for me on Wednesday. I have a clinic normally from 1 to 5 on Wednesday, and the only reason I was available today is that I'd already taken this as a vacation day.
Could we try at 9 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock?
Well, 8 o'clock already ruins my Wednesday morning for my other activities, so why not? Can't do anything anyway.
I mean, 8 o'clock is fine. I can make it, but 9 o'clock is better.
Doesn't matter to me.
Any other discussion? 8 o'clock is a little early for people that are not used to doing that.
Yeah. We want to try a 9 o'clock for at least the September meeting as our next meeting.
Shall we take a roll call vote? We have a proposal for 9 o'clock.
We have to check for room availability.
Room availability.
That's good. Yeah. So we'll look into it, and then we'll
get back to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A request has been made for 9 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock, and the action is Lynn's going to look into it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Staff reports are, was there anything else? Kim, did you want to say anything else about your staff report, or?
Yeah, I was just going to say that in my staff report, I noted that the DSC Community First contract, we were in contract negotiations, and we met last Wednesday, so a week ago, and they accepted the proposed benchmarks that, not the initial ones, but the second set of proposed benchmarks, they accepted those. And I can detail those if you want, but if you don't, I can stop talking too.
Any,
I might ramble, so.
I do wish we had more time to detail them. I don't think I'd like to, prolong this meeting further in that discussion, but I think detailing that and discussing that lends to that idea of how we want to see services changing in our community over time.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'll just be very brief. The original benchmarks that were sent in the original contract were for 17,000 hours during quarters 1 and 2, and then an additional 8,500 hours during quarters 3 and 4 apiece. And the DSC rejected those due to the pandemic. They were concerned that they were not going to be able to meet the benchmarks as originally sent in the contract. And so we did the DHS, Division of Developmental Disabilities webinar, just to kind of learn how they were proposing the return to community day services. And we worked to come up with 8,000 direct hours during quarters 1 and 2 combined, and 4,000 apiece during quarters 3 and 4. And all of those hours were to be direct hours. There was no place that needed to happen as previous years.
Can you repeat that, those hours again? Just not the whole thing, just the hours. What did you say?
Which hours? The ones that are currently approved?
Yes.
Okay. 8 hours during quarters 1 and 2. 8,000 hours during the first and second quarter combined, and 4,000 apiece during the third and fourth quarters.
So basically 4,000 per quarter.
Yes, except for the first quarter, the first and second are combined. So if they get, like 30.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And I would like to, I know we're running into a time crunch. I would like to support what Gail said and request that we put this on the agenda for a more in-depth discussion at our next meeting. One of the things that I would be interested in, I think that we can kind of guide and we can discuss this, is based on the surveys that DSC are doing with individuals, which is great. We look at those surveys and maybe a plan that they've put together on how they're going to address their activities in the next quarter based on those surveys. But throw that out and put it on the agenda.
Okay, so we're asking for some follow-up, how that's going, basically. How they're...
Sure.
Okay. Did you have anything more? No? Okay. Anything?
Thank you.
Okay. Anything good? We're all still here. That's good.
I'm afraid that my internet is struggling right now and I'm recording the meeting.
Okay.
So did I miss anything in the last about minute and a half?
Did you miss something?
Right, because my computer is recording the meeting and I lost connection for a second. So did I miss anything in the last minute and a half? I'm sorry.
Well, the main thing that you might have missed was Sue asked for a more substantive discussion at an upcoming meeting about how DSC is actually providing the services.
Okay. So that's for
the direct services.
Okay. Perfect.
We're interested in how they're doing.
Okay. Thank you.
And I think that's it. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
You do.
Second.
Okay. Stephanie, do we have to roll call this one, or can we just say?
Actually, you can adjourn the meeting if you have been through all the agenda items. You don't need a motion. You can just.
You don't even need a motion. I can just, by executive order, adjourn the meeting. Okay. I want to thank everybody for their participation, especially those who were just listening in, and those who did participate. Thanks to everybody, and definitely stay safe.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, that went well.
Thank you, Mark. What happy news about 2-1-1?
Yeah, I thought so. You know, it was nice of her to make the offer. So, and then the board, you know, considered it and just decided to, you know, go with the original amount. I thought that was very generous of the board, you know, so, yep.
It's good.
So,
All right.
I guess we'll reconvene in about less than 30, about 35, 40 minutes. So,
Yep.
okay.
See you then.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.